Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Doctor Who 60th Celebration Reviews. Today, we're going to be going over a story that, frankly, I am pleasantly surprised it is as good as it is. Before we begin, be sure to like and subscribe, and even leave a comment. The last story before this, The Crusade, I did this in two different YouTube shorts, each one covering a half of it. Let's dive into this four-parter now. As mentioned, this is a four-part story, and it's called The Space Museum, which actually heavily plays with the idea of time travel. The story basically begins mysteriously right off the end of The Crusade, where they basically where the TARDIS team, Vicky, Ian, Barbara, the Doctor, are completely frozen in time. No one's really moving, no one's really doing anything. When it starts back up again, they're actually wearing their normal everyday clothes, not at all the Middle Eastern region or Palestinian region kind of 12th century robes that they were actually wearing or 13th century robes they were wearing within the Crusades story. At first, I chalked it up to a continuity error, but of course, I was pleasantly surprised to see that it was an actual plot point, which was explored further in the story. Some more weird things happen. Vicky basically pours a glass of water, and then she drops it, and then it sort of jumps together and comes back into her hand with the water included. She drops the glass, the water goes everywhere, and then it's like time reversal, like the boomerang kind of video effect, where it all comes together and then jumps right into her hand. It's rather interesting to watch, and for the 60s, it's rather good kind of special effects delegating, so to speak, or use of it, so to speak. This story then gets more and more mysterious. They land on this weird kind of museum-ish planet, where they notice something weird. They're standing on a bunch of dust, several inches of it, but no one's making a single footprint. So they do some more, exploration of the museum. They notice that no one can actually see or hear them, and they can't even interact with the exhibits. Their hand sort of goes through it, sort of transparent, translucent kind of thing. It's a rather weird effect. Now, this story, I've been told that after episode 1, it all goes downhill. But frankly, as far as I'm concerned, this is a pretty great story that stays great throughout. I remember through the story, I was because I was told, and I had this predisposition to think so, that the story would get worse. I was kept waiting for the story to get bad, and before I knew it, I was done with the story. I was like, what? Where's the bad stuff here? And of course, there is no really bad stuff. At first, this is kind of a time travel thing. At the end of episode 1, it's actually a pretty chilling cliffhanger. They notice they themselves are in exhibit casings, and they work out that they would know they're actually visible and they're actually there once the exhibits disappear, and once the exhibits disappear and they can actually kind of interact with stuff. That's their signals, and the cliffhanger is when that does happen. The casings disappear, and everything sort of reverses itself in a way. It's a rather interesting kind of trippy story technique. Episodes 2, 3, and 4 show that there are actually two factions. There's the upper, which are called the Morok, and then down below, then they're like the underdogs, so to speak. They are the Zeros. Now, I can understand why people may think this story is bad, because one, it retreads the similar plot beats of the Web Planet, and we all know how the Web Planet went. And two, it's just a formula that it was always there. It was always like that, so it was kind of boring. But to be honest, I think they did it pretty well. With the I think they did it well in this particular case, at least, because they show everyone kind of splitting up. And one of my favorite parts about this is that Vicky isn't always glued to the Doctor the way that she usually is in past stories. She was actually like on her own, being proactive, meeting her own characters. It was rather fulfilling to see. So that's basically the plot of the story. It ends with Vicky meeting a group of Zerons, and they break into the armory and plot their own kind of revenge against the Morlocks, who are revealed to be very warlike kind of mongrels. Not mongrels, sorry. Um, I forgot what the word is, but I think it's like Mongol, I guess. Like they're you know they're war hounds basically. They keep fighting wars, and they invaded the Zeron planet Zeros, and made it to their own little museum of artifacts of war. Which it's a pretty horrible thing to do. Sound familiar? England. Anyway, that's pretty much the whole plot. Overall, there's not much to it like 60s stories. It's like the other 60s stories, it's rather light on plot. But I think I really appreciate it for what it's trying to do, and it did some really interesting things with the concept of time travel. I would rate the story overall an 8.5 or maybe even a 9 out of 10. I think it's really that good. I think it's a solid A tier game. Story. Sorry. That's all for today. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think of this story, of this review, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. See ya.